Let's go in.
Right, okay.
Cue the intro. Oh, God, I make myself laugh. That's not our intro, by the way.
I'm expecting you
It's got sound. This is class, this thing. It's got loads of sound effects on it. So whenever Matthew's deep in a point, I'll play something and it'll just knock him off.
It's like Bradley's dropping bombs.
It is.
Just the bomb one.
You can customise them as well, the sounds, can you?
Yeah, I can put whatever I want on there. The top G theme tune on there.
Oh, that's a nice sound on the microphone. We'll just get straight into it then, I think. Is there no need for me to procrastinate for 5 minutes?
Whatever.
Like usual.
I mean, I personally have wasted the past half an hour trying to figure out these problems, so everything's rolling. That's only got 2 hours on it, so we can't go over 2 hours, but I didn't think we were going to anyway.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
With Slough, that was like nearly 3 hours of raw footage.
It's when you get into it, you just get going.
Yeah, it is. That should have more on it.
It doesn't. That one's got 4 hours of 4K footage. That's the 256.
Swap them then, yeah.
Do you mean swap?
Swap them around.
Why?
Because that's on me and Josh.
It doesn't matter. We're not going to go over 2 hours and 50 minutes.
All right. Yeah, fair
That's a deadline now. Set yourself to get a good conversation in that time.
Okay. Right.
If we do go over, we'll fix the problem as we get to it, but I don't anticipate that we should need to keep you longer than that. Once we've got what we need, you can... I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
Are you all right to start, Mr. Knott?
You want me to start?
No, are you okay to start going?
Oh, I'm happy for you to start, yeah.
Dexter? All good?
Is that you telling me to shut up?
Good.
No, I'm just asking you.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Ready when you are.
Okay. Oh, hi everyone, and welcome back to the Clubine podcast. Today I am joined by a very, very special guest. That is none other than Mr. Josh Dexter himself. Josh, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No problems. Thank you for coming down to our neck of the woods in southwest Wales.
Nice little drive.
All the way from Nottingham. Obviously, Josh is here on business, and we might as well get on to that now. For those of you who do not know who Josh Dexter is, Josh Dexter is a man of many talents, actually. He's got a level 3 in accounting. He's also a personal trainer as well, who is an online coach, now turned business mentor. As part of the Limitless University, which is a group of exceptional individuals who aim to scale businesses.
Yeah.
It's the correct terminology.
Yeah.
And really deliver some value to businesses. But anyway, first I'm going to start with a question to you, Josh. And this is a question that you are quite familiar with because it's a question that you've asked yourself. If I was to run up and bump into you on the street and I asked you, who are you and what do you do? What would your answer be?
Always difficult. Someone asked me this yesterday. I guess the short form is I just help people grow in any way, shape or form. It's very, very hard to explain in a nutshell. Always struggle with this question every single time. But ultimately, I can take anybody business-wise from any position to where they want to be and make it a reality. That's the short form.
The long form?
The long form will be here all day.
Well, we've got 1 hour and 59 minutes.
No, the long form. So basically what I do is I work one-to-one with each individual. So I'll sit down. I'm a silent business partner. Like it's in my best interest to help that person achieve what they need to achieve. So I'll work with a one-to-one, very, very hands-on, and I'll give them the exact steps day to day that they need to actually achieve the goal that they need to achieve. So whether that's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's their service, their systems, anything, I deliver those step by steps and break it down and educate and help them understand exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it.
So where did this originate from then? How did you get into this space of scaling?
I was doing it first. I walked the walk first. So I grew my own online coaching company, fell out of love a bit over the pandemic. I won't say the C word just in case you get
instant delete.
Taken down.
Demonetized. But no, it was over COVID where I actually stopped working business to consumer and started working business to business because it was just such a toll. The clientele that I had at the time had about 150, 200 coaching clients, but all of them were putting all of their problems onto me. So it took a massive toll on me mentally. So I ended up putting that to bed, and then I ended up helping coaches deliver their coaching company. So I'm very good at what I do, but I just fell out of love with it instantly, if that makes sense. So that's when the kind of shift like really came in. But I was doing it before that anyway. I was helping people without mentoring. Wasn't a thing 5 years ago. It wasn't a thing. But I was mentoring people without actually having the term or the label mentor. So yeah, that's where it kind of comes from.
Because I'm interested in it, because obviously
Mentoring mentors. That's an interesting one.
it sticks out to me. And obviously the Limitless program really interests me a lot, especially the people inside there as well. And I see it's like a life I want to live. I want to get involved in it, and I want to do everything I can to succeed. Yeah. I think having a mentor is quite important. I know we haven't got one currently.
Well, I do.
You do, yes. I don't. But it's interesting to me because obviously I've seen the success you've had with Slough. Slough is a client of Josh in the Limitless program. And you are responsible for the Marbella trip. Yeah. For putting that idea in his head. And it's just like, I see the success of that, and I wanna emulate that for my own business. Even though we're not in the same space of online coaching, I do see that, and I want to emulate that.
It's the same thing though, as generating well, basically earning sales, generating relationships with clients, building relationships. I mean, it's all the same thing. I mean, it applies across anything. It's just, and this is a question I asked Leo, because I asked him about, because he's got coaching from different people for different purposes. And a question I asked him on the podcast was, at what point do you think it's necessary? And obviously me and Martha are very early days into our businesses, and there's a lot further we could go. But, would you see somebody at our level would really, really benefit from sort of business coaching? And if so, well, what would you think would be the biggest benefit we could get at an early level where we're still figuring out what everything's about,
The biggest benefit is I didn't take off until it was 7 years later. That's what you pay a mentor for. You pay for that time bridge. That's what you pay for. So for example, if you, it's 11 years now. If you hire me, you've got 11 years of knowledge just embedded into you like a sponge. That's what you pay for. Now, how much is 11 years worth to both of you?
Endless amounts of money.
If I had the money, I could pay thousands and thousands and thousands every month to get that time. Time is worth way more than money. Any dollar amount.
And it's not just me. It's everybody within Limitless that you're like being a part of. That's why you see guys like we mentioned, Josh Thomas, like before the podcast started. 22 years old, absolutely fucking crushing it. Because he's surrounded by just decades and decades and decades of experience, having conversations with the right people. A lot of people are naive when it comes to mentorship because they do want to do it on their own, which I completely understand. I was the same. I was quite hesitant at first when I hired my first mentor. But then when you start hiring mentors and you start just accumulating knowledge, you've got a fantastic opportunity now to pay your way into the doors that you want to be in. That wasn't around when I started.
That's true.
It wasn't around. I mean, there were just blog posts back in the day. There was a bodybuilding site called T Nation.
I've heard of that.
You've heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it from somewhere. I can't remember where.
That's where all my knowledge came from. And it was like YouTube videos from like Steve Cook, big man on campus. He did like a YouTube series, right? So all my knowledge of coaching just came from social media. And it's my own initiative to go out there and actually find the information that I wanted. Whereas now you've got access to people that can just educate you specifically, and that's the key thing. Not just throwing information at you, but they're giving you the exact steps that you need to hit the goal that you want to hit. So you guys at the moment, 22, 23, 24, imagine where you can be by 30 by having the right people in the corner.
And it is interesting, right? I speak to my parents, and obviously my parents are, they're both mid-50s. So for them to grasp the idea that I could scale a business to a level that I tell them I could scale it to within the next few months and years. And they're like, well, hang on, you've got to generate a reputation over 20 years. And I'm like, well, I can get the information and then use that information and build a reputation. Yes, it takes time to build a reputation, but I can build the skills, and I can essentially, it's like you just pay to play. You can pay to be rich, essentially, if you know the right people, you speak to the right people. Whereas getting the connections back in the day, it was really difficult. You had to know somebody who knew someone. Whereas now you can get in touch with a company like Limitless and really get access to the best minds in the UK, in the country.
Exactly. So like that's why a lot of people my parents are the same. They don't understand it. But it's because they're brought up in that generation where there wasn't social media back then. Like everyone that you knew, you had to knock on doors, you had to shake hands. And it's so easy to earn money these days. People don't understand. Like, you've got your phone right there. You can connect with any fucking human being on the planet.
Like I've connected to you.
Exactly. Why am I here right now? Exactly the point.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't do. You wouldn't be randomly in Nottingham knocking on doors and hoping.
I knocked on yours.
Hoping to find people to get your podcast, right? You can just connect with anybody that you want, and that's the power of the generation that we're in. So you can connect with anybody that you want on the planet. You can have access to any information that you want. Whatever you want to do in life is so easily accessible now. It's unbelievable. It's such an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm just
Really
trying to think how we can really take hold of the opportunity of the generation we're in, because I feel like
AI.
I was going to get onto that because I feel like
Artificial intelligence.
That's what I spend most of my time doing now, because I'm just thinking there's a lot of things. Firstly, to automate processes in the business.
Yeah.
And secondly, to help other people automate processes in their business.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I shouldn't really say this is kind of like an off-camera thing, but we were trying to sell our videography service to online coaches and charge them a couple £100 for a daily reel. And then I'm thinking, they don't want to spend that. They don't want to pay that. So why don't I just sell them a course on how to use AI and do it really easily? You know, things like that. This is the way I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how can I, anything AI related, I'm thinking, can I do a course? Can I do just use AI to you know, scale quicker? It seems to be it's the forefront right now, and I get really stressed about things, right? Because I'm exposing myself to these terms. So I'm looking at, you know, the big players in AI, and I'm always watching videos, I'm always reading articles, and I'm thinking, I'll get in before. It's like NFTs. I didn't get into NFTs because I was, I will. On Saturday I'll look into it, and then it's like time goes by, and all of a sudden it's too late because you're not buying Bored Apes now. No one's buying it now. No one talks about that now. Whereas Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? I think that's what they called it. And you actually had access to yacht parties, and there was such a big deal around it. They created a massive network, some of the best people on the planet. Whereas now it's almost worthless, those NFTs. It's the underlying technology that matters now. Things like all these different softwares. There's so many AI tools. I mean, you'll know about a lot of them. A lot of them will be gone, but the underlying technology will advance, and that's what's going to really be important. I think ChatGPT is huge. That's literally my Google now. I was telling you off camera. And yeah, it's just my point was, it scares me because I have to get in, otherwise I'm gonna fall behind, and other people are gonna excel, and I'm gonna miss that opportunity. You know, another one will come, but it could be a couple of years before a big opportunity comes.
it boils down to the question of, is it going to destroy the world or create a new one?
Create a new one.
Yeah.
Pandemic again.
Here we go. Thank you, Josh. Killing the algorithm.
So when that hit, a lot of people worried about losing their jobs and things like that. But what they don't understand is Amazon took on 300,000 people in rapid succession just in England alone. The money in the economy doesn't go anywhere, but what happens within it shifts. But the total money in the economy, yes, with inflation, they print more money and that total goes up, but the money doesn't go anywhere. So what you're seeing with AI right now, you're just going to see another shift. 5-10 years, another shift. It will always keep shifting. That's why there's no coal miners these days.
True.
Why?
We don't do coal anymore.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
10 years, 20 years down the line, there's no petrol stations.
It's a scary thought, though.
Shit. I said this on a podcast with Mark Fox. The great thing about the generation that we're living in is we're so open-minded to change, and it's a really good thing. So I was still brought up I was probably like the last of the generation where you can run outdoors and like fucking scrape your knee and you're on your bike and you're just playing outside the whole time. And then your mum gives you a couple of pounds for lunch for the day, and you just save that up all week, and then at the end of the week you'd probably get like a pizza with your mates on the park. And then to now, talking about AI, like that is a very, very vast generation span, and then 5-10 years we're going to be on Mars. Like we're so tuned now to change and being open-minded, it's ridiculous. So nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing. And when it comes to AI, going back to that, all of these different AI apps, none of them are going to be here because they're all on the race and the pursuit to one. It's like Iron Man. So on Iron Man, he's got Jarvis, right? He asks Jarvis to do anything he wants and he just does it. That's where AI is going.
I tried to code my own Jarvis the other day using Python. I know I didn't code it. ChatGPT coded it for me.
Yeah.
It generated code to create me an AI voice assistant because I know it sounds really scary. I told my father about this and he said, no, and it probably is dangerous. But I tried to get an AI that could hack into my computer and do things for me. I'm yet to find that. If you know of something, please help me off camera.
No, that's interesting.
Because I can use ChatGPT and I'm like, go into my Notion project and create me a database with all of this information. It's like as an AI language assistant or whatever they call themselves.
All good.
You can turn the screw, mate, and it
Falling
loosens.
off the table. That's just tighten it up a little bit. I didn't want it to fall off the podcast.
You need to push it. Yeah, you need to push it on.
That should be good. There we go. Sorry, I'll stop moving it.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Good?
I didn't realise this is quite a flimsy table. This is the first time we've done it like this. But where was I? Oh yeah, ChatGPT will give you an answer. Like if I ask it to go into my computer and access files, create a database, create an Excel spreadsheet, it's like, as a language assistant, I can't do any of this. And it's kind of annoying. It's basically just drawing Wikipedia data and giving you exactly what you want in the way you've asked it, because you could ask it to generate information a certain way. So I'm like, generate me 5 bullets on thumbnail optimization for podcasts. And that's the sort of prompts I'll put into there. But I really need something like Jarvis. And I've tried to code it in Python using ChatGPT. But then the problem is I have absolutely no knowledge of coding.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely no knowledge of Python. So once I downloaded all the necessary things, I went into the terminal and installed everything. Every time I get an error, I'll put it into ChatGPT and it struggles to help me because I don't understand what it's telling me. So obviously there's a bit of human sort of
interface.
Well, there's a bit of like disconnect between me being able to understand the output it's giving me. But at the same time, this is where it's going, and I'm excited for it. But as I said, my father was scared because he was like, you don't let AI into your computer. And I probably shouldn't. It's probably not a good thing.
So you're listening.
That's what I'm... Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm telling him. Like, we could talk about a certain camera that hardly anybody knows about, and it'll be selling it to me later on this afternoon. Do you remember that when we went to Perform X? And we were looking at the Sony FX3, big video cam. And then later that afternoon, both of us had ads for the Sony FX3.
Yeah. Scary.
Or the FX6, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it's true. There's no doubt about that. But I'm excited by the whole AI voice assistant. And just to get it to do whatever. I pay money for that. ChatGPT is great, but I need something that can do things for me. It doesn't do anything for me yet. It just gives me the right information. It saves me endless scrolling on Google and endless,
I just want to know the best ways you can optimize it to get ahead of the race.
The best
AI.
The best way is it's the user. So a lot of people have access to AI, but not a lot of people know the right questions to ask, and that's the key thing. So it's what we always teach in our courses, and we do a lot of stuff on AI, as you know. But you've already got to have the knowledge of what you're doing and what you want out of it. If you don't have, it's like if you go onto ChatGPT, help me lose weight.
No,
Yeah.
you've got to formulate it in the correct way. It's not a human being. It's not going to follow up with prompts. It's going to give you what you've asked for.
Yeah.
You've got to paint the picture. Whereas if I said in ChatGPT, I'm a 42-year-old fireman. I'm my 5 kilometer running time now is dropped from 28 minutes to 35 minutes. I want to perform better at work. I'm currently this height, this weight. These are the foods that I like. Paint the picture for the AI like you talk to it like a human being, and then ask the question. You're always going to get the best response.
The best way that I've done, I try to create a personal assistant. So I ask ChatGPT, ask me questions that will allow you to understand more about me so that you can become my full-time personal assistant.
Like a human being.
And then all of a sudden I'm answering all of these questions and then I'm saying, create me a weekly schedule that will allow me to carry out my work duties that I've just outlined in the previous answer, because it remembers all that. And then it'll say, oh, you could do this. You could do the podcast stuff at this time. You can go to the gym at this time because I know you do jiu-jitsu now. It knows me now. It doesn't know me, but I've given it the information. It doesn't know what I haven't given it. Well, that's not true, but you know, that there's ways to put the prompts in, and I think that's obviously a big thing, learning how to use it. But I'm still wildly brand new to it. I've just been enjoying playing around in ChatGPT to see what it can do. It's quite biased, actually. I think there's some sort of bias there. You ask it opinions on like transgenderism and stuff. It has an opinion. It has a woke opinion. I'll tell you that much.
The great thing is though, it's like if you, I was having a walk with the wife. And I'm someone that said to you before, I'm like a sponge. So I'll sit there, I'll listen, I'll just absorb my environment and information. I was having a walk with my wife and just hearing the conversations about like other couples, other families, like people walking their dog. They're all talking about things that are so 10, 15, 20 years ago in regards to actually being fucking relevant. Like, oh, Eurovision. No one gives a fuck about the Eurovision. Like me and my wife are talking about AI. We're talking about Mars. Like just the fact that we're talking about this right now puts both of you so fucking ahead of the game. You don't mind me swearing on this, right?
I'll say what you need to say, man.
When I'm passionate, I swear.
I'll say what you want, man.
It's good to see.
So you're so ahead of the game. I don't think both of you realise it. This is like the internet. When the internet came about, probably both too young to remember. I was just old enough to remember when it really kicked in. Everybody was saying how crazy. Oh no, that's silly. No, you don't need a computer. Now look.
Well, Jeff Bezos was laughed at, right? Because he wanted to take sales online, book sales online. And everyone was like, no one wants to buy a book online.
This is that next thing.
Yeah.
So just the fact that you're taking it seriously, you talk about it, you're trying to educate yourself.
Yeah.
You're
but
so ahead.
It creates stress though, right? Because I'm thinking, well, how can I make money from this? Because I
Educate.
That's the thing. I learn all this stuff, but how do I actually make money on this?
Educate.
And there's people like, it's so easy to make money. And there's this kid, and you may have seen the podcast clip. It's quite famous at this point. And he said, if you're in your 20s and you haven't got a Lambo, you got to sit down and have a serious conversation with yourself.
I've seen this.
And I was like, fuck, why haven't I got a Lambo?
Let's talk.
And then I'm thinking, what do I need to do? And it creates so much stress. And I understand the stress in young people. A lot of people, I think even young guys that don't take action and don't learn about it still feel it. But they deal with it by pretending like it doesn't exist.
Let me ask you a question. People are only stressed because, again, it's a new world where people are a lot more open-minded. Now, back in the day, if you looked at someone who was, let's say, your parents' age, right? Maybe 40, 50 years old, and then they had a Lambo, would you be stressed?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah.
Like, would you be stressed about someone older achieving those things? Because back in the day, you thought, oh, they'd work their way up.
Probably not, because they've just grafted for over a couple of decades.
Exactly, right? So this is just the new generation where you've just got to adapt mentally.
It's possible within 2 or 3 years.
Anybody, any age, anyone can achieve anything in life. It's just adapting and being open-minded to that scenario. That's all it is. Because like I just mentioned, back in the day, it was normal to work your way up in an employed job, get a great fucking pension, whatever.
401.
I suppose I don't think of it like that. I don't think of the fact that if it was me from my family situation, because some young kids did have nice stuff back in the day, but that was because they were given it. Yeah. You know, you didn't work your way up and then by 23 you've got a Lambo. That didn't happen in the 80s.
Yeah, so success never used to stress you out. That's what I'm saying. Like back in the day when you see success, it didn't stress you out.
It's only because it's so prevalent
There's
among
always a
young
logical
people.
reason. That's it.
Yeah.
So the only reason why a lot of people compare and they stress themselves out now is because they're putting pressure on themselves. Why haven't I achieved that? But you wouldn't be asking that question when someone's 30 years older than you achieving these things. Well, why haven't I achieved that? Well,
because I'm 30 years younger.
Exactly, right? So it's just adapting.
It's because there are 19, 20, 21, 20, like Iman Gadji. He's 23, 24?
20.
He's like Clou's age, right? And he makes like 20 mil a year more.
Yeah.
And he's got 150 employees over multiple companies. He basically changed the game of social media marketing.
Yeah.
He's an innovator. You know, and I'm not an innovator. I'm not that creative. But I do feel like I can take advantage of opportunities. It's just so much, isn't it? I mean, there's so many ways to do it as well. I wish there was just a couple of ways to do it.
Focus on the best way to use AI. Focus on what you guys are doing right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys obviously helping people with their social media, you're podcasting, you're doing great things. Now, it's like putting that hard work on steroids. You can now churn out multiple podcasts. You can get multiple clips from it. You can help your clients. You can probably 10x the amount of clients that you can take on because you can work faster, more efficiently. So it's using it with what you're currently doing. That's the best way to use AI. So it's not, I get what you're saying, but it's not having that, oh my God, there's so much to do. There's so many opportunities here. Like, where do I go? What do I do? Do what you're doing, but better.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing.
I think that's the first phase of this new AI revolution is allowing it to help you, and eventually it'll take over employee positions where I won't need an assistant, I won't need this, I won't need that. We can just have me and you
AI.
and a series of AI systems that we pay a couple £100 a month for in total, as opposed to hundreds of thousands in salaries, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And it'll get more expensive as they get better. At the moment, like Mid-Journey, I have no idea how to use that. It's bizarre, but it's like £10 a month and a little Discord server, and you can generate images. Like, do you remember when I put Chris Einer on a mountain?
Yeah.
I put somebody in a gi doing jiu-jitsu, and I put it. I was like, put the subject on a mountain. I was just trying to do bizarre stuff, and it does it well.
Yeah.
Like, this is class. But at the moment, it's just like a novelty for me. Like, how can I use some of these systems?
It's like a new present at Christmas when you first get it. You try it out. Yeah.
But what I'm saying, the point I was making is they're quite cheap at the moment, like £10 a month, £20 a month. There's something called Morph or Murph AI, which generates voice, which is good. There's a couple other things. There's the ones that clip video AI and Munch AI, the stuff that creates clips. I think you probably use one of them. You spoke about that, about generating short form clips. And
we spoke about this when you were in the shower.
Did you?
We did.
Yeah. The show. I'm yet to do that. I still edit all of my podcast clips manually because some of the ones they generate I don't like.
You don't have to. So this is the great thing with video, just touching on that as an individual software. It will generate, it's like I took my last podcast that I did, generated about 40 different clips. I probably liked about 10 of them. But imagine how long it'd take you to filter through that manually, edit them, subtitle them, crop them down, make it portrait version, 10 minutes. Like, you don't have to use all of them, but the time that's going to save you is, this is what I'm saying. You can do what you're doing right now, but start working faster and smarter.
This is what I love. When I found out there's something called Autopod, and there's a multicam editor on there. So what it'll do,
it'll edit this
there's
podcast.
two camera angles now, and I hope this isn't boring the audience because we have stayed on this for a while.
Well, if people are listening,
if you're
they can
interested,
utilize it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then we got three audio tracks, 2 camera tracks. You can sync everything up in Premiere Pro. Use Autopod, and when one of you is speaking, it'll play that camera angle. When I'm speaking, it'll play that. Whereas before, we'd manually have to listen through it and cut out, and that would take at least the length of the podcast times
2, 3
times 1.5, I'd say. You know, and it's way accurate. It's way more accurate as well. So you do that, it takes about 20 seconds. You can see it chopping it up all the way through, and then you've got it done. And we could potentially put up 3 or 4 podcasts per day, because when we're doing the solo ones, we can sit here and then do 4 or 3 20-minute episodes. So we can do an hour recording, and then 10 minutes of editing. You can do that every day.
Yeah,
3 podcasts a day. I mean, I think that's overkill, but you could.
Yeah,
it's
not overkill. But exactly right. It's like a lot of the Zoom meetings that I have, I use like softwares like 11 Labs. Everything's transcribed. So I'll finish a meeting, automatically send over the notes from that meeting in a bullet point fashion. But this is what we went through. This is what you need to do.
Do you record all your meetings then?
Everyone.
Because I was thinking about that. I was like, I should record this meeting with the client just for like to develop a bit of a database on them, so we can see.
Yeah.
Hit record on everything. Everything I do is recorded. Everything.
You'd have to ask them first, obviously.
Yeah, of course that.
But I'm sure they'd be fine with it. For their benefit as well, we'll send you over a transcript of what the details were.
Yeah, because I'm trying to learn like what the best way to.
But just learning Googling. The only thing with Googling is it gives you a million different things you can do,
and it gives you suggested things with ads as well.
That's changing. That's changing very soon. So Google are now introducing like the next version of Google. So this is where Google's going to completely take over every AI software.
So it's going to basically become that ChatGPT search function that I was using.
So you can ask very specific questions now. Google will still give you all of the alternatives, but right at the very top, let's say, use this as an example. So I'm looking to become a guest on a podcast. I want to be interviewed by two very young, hungry, entrepreneurial minds. Okay, and I want to do this podcast in Wales, half an hour from X. Specific, and you two came up.
Yeah.
That's what Google's doing, and then there's alternative questions that will come in.
I'm glad, because before you actually couldn't give too many keywords to Google. It would confuse
Exactly.
It would go overboard.
You put it in like, I want to do this. You don't write in Google like that.
No.
You write
Suggestively.
You don't even say suggest this to me. You just say podcasts in South Wales. That's really as specific as you could get.
Thousands of answers.
Thousands of answers, yeah. And if you were any more specific than that, if there was anything subjective in there, anything about you personally,
It says, did you
it
mean-
confused it. Did you mean this?
Did you
yeah.
mean X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, it is good. Google are obviously the front runners in AI. 75% of AI workforce works for Google anyway.
Exactly.
So I'm happy for them to. I mean, I'm indifferent as long as it makes me money and as long as I can automate my processes. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, Elon Musk thinks it'll take over the world. I mean, do you look that far ahead, or do you just think about
Yeah, we've got Marcus, who's part of the team. He's a little bit more
crisis,
on
AI
the
crisis?
humans are going to disappear.
Terminator sort of style thing.
Yeah, he's very much like that. I'm a little bit more sort of open-minded. I don't think he's going to go that far, but who knows? Who knows? Like you never know. I think the most exciting thing about AI for me personally is the development of us colonizing Mars, because that's so fascinating to me. That as an actual race, that we can colonize another planet, and like this is getting really deep, but that really interests me, because if you could do it once, you could do it again.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden we never die out.
It's like the 4-minute mile, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once one person does it once,
Yeah.
we'll colonize it the whole solar system.
Exactly.
Would you live on Mars then if we colonize it?
100%.
So
Would you? Yeah. Would you fly out there?
Would you not?
I don't know. Dubai looks better, mate.
What? Think of the skyscrapers you could build on Mars. I don't know what you could build on Mars. Would you build on Mars, or would you just?
You get land cheap.
Oh, the real estate opportunity. Yeah, because you've got a whole new planet to build on, so you could literally build like the biggest properties. Would it just be a haven for the rich? That probably would be for the first like
start
a few
with,
hundred
yeah.
years.
To start with, have you ever done a flight simulator, spaceship simulator?
Yeah, I've done one in America somewhere.
No, I haven't.
And like the NASA.
It's intense, right?
Yeah, the G4 simulator.
Oh, that'd be the only thing that I'd struggle with. And then you're in there for days as well.
Yeah.
It's not like a flight where it's like an hour or however long you're on a flight. Like days and weeks. That's the only thing that I'd struggle with. But fuck yeah, why not?
I overthink things though. I think I'm going to die. I wouldn't fall into panic, but I'd sit there thinking I'm going to die. This is not happening. I'm on my way to fucking Mars. What the fuck am I doing?
You struggle with the G-force and the Passat. Let alone
2-litre turbo diesel, and I'm shaking.
let alone a jet. So is that what goes on inside Limitless then, as you talk about Mars?
Yeah.
We talk about everything.
Yeah, what? Limitless. There's no limits.
Honestly, that's the whole Limitless University interests me a lot.
Yeah.
And I've, especially leading up to this podcast, I've obviously consumed a lot of content from yourself and Elliot. So like, if you had to define Limitless then, what would it be? Because it seems to be, obviously it's a university for education and value, but it seems to be a lot more than that. It seems to be a close network of like-minded individuals who are disciplined and will show up on an hour's sleep. And it just seems like a very strong network, and that's something that myself and Alex are incredibly interested in, to develop ourselves first and to be a part of.
I think the biggest unique selling point that we've got is we started off obviously as a mentorship, working one-to-one. Now we still do that, and we create results for every single person that does what we say. Everyone. There's not a single person that hasn't done what we said and not grown, sorry. There's not a single person. The only people that don't grow are the people that don't do what we say. Very, very important. But now we've shifted that into an ecosystem where you come in, people don't leave, because we've got contacts and we've got connections where you can do anything that you want and can think of.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Gives me goosebumps just hearing that.
Anything.
The opportunities. And I don't know whether I said this on camera or off camera, but obviously Limitless, you guys have worked with a lot of the great minds in the UK. So if you think of the UK as a whole, there aren't many great minds that don't either know or have worked with one of you guys. So by connecting with Limitless, you're connecting with the best minds in the UK and you have access to them, potentially. That is
Invaluable.
And I think we're so young, especially us two at 22, if I said that to my father, he'd be like, do you know how hard you had to work to have that opportunity? And I take it for granted. I almost assume that I should be able to do that because of the abilities I have technologically. I could message anyone. I could message Stephen Bartlett. He wouldn't get back to me, but there's a potential. There's a couple of connections you need. It's like Mike Thurston. He's one connection away from Tate. So me connecting with Mike Thurston, obviously there's a couple of issues with connecting to Tate, but the point stands still, isn't it? You know, and that excites me. And this is the thing me and Matthew are doing now. In addition to upskilling, building a network, I think, is really what's going to get us there. And, you know, I saw Elliot Wise put a video up of him lighting his Romeo and Juliet cigar or whatever it was and saying, oh, your network is everything. But it's true. I think it's true. And the more people that I meet that are successful and that think differently, think better, then, think with no limits.
But you choose your network.
Yeah.
That was something that, me being young and naive, I never understood that until I kind of look back. I was like, holy shit. Like we're having this conversation because you guys have chosen to have this conversation. I've chosen to have it with you guys. We've chosen it. So every connection, every networking opportunity that you make, every move you make, like playing chess, you're choosing where to move that pawn or that knight or that king. It's your choice.
Yeah. And you can choose to ignore it, but we chose to go there in the first place.
Exactly.
Because they say your net worth is defined by your network. I am such a strong believer in that. I'm at 22 years of age now. I feel old saying that, actually. But at 22 years of age, I'm trying to define myself with my network. And I'm trying to surround myself with people who are like-minded, ambitious, and just want to go somewhere in life. Because I think if you don't, and you surround yourself with people who aren't like-minded, you're going to shift yourself. Your energy is going to morph into that sort of energy.
That's so true. And me, I'm quite impressionable. And I've still got a lot of friends that they're brokies, to put it lightly. They don't think the way that I think. I'm not saying I'm more successful than them. I'm just saying I think more optimistically. I think about success. They don't think about it. They think, oh, I could come to Ibiza. I'll have to see if I can get time off work. And that's as ambitious as they ever get. Can I get time off work to go to Ibiza if I stay for 2 years? I'm not talking about material wealth. I'm just talking about the way that I think is different. And the longer that I keep them in my inner circle, the more that I tend to fall into that as well. I do fall into that. And I'm not saying I'm strong enough to be a part of that group and think differently. The longer I'm there, the more likely I am to be like that. You know, the longer I speak to you, the longer I speak to Llew, the more likely I am to be disciplined. It's just as simple as that. And I truly believe it. I'm not strong enough to stand out in a crowd that are all exactly the same. I'll become one eventually. If everybody on the planet just worked a 9 to 5 and thought like that and didn't think they wanted to become and build something for themselves, then I would just do that. Why would I do anything else? It just doesn't seem like it would be possible for me.
Your head always achieves the goal faster than you personally. So your headspace and your mindset always achieves what you want to achieve before you actually get there. So what I mean by that is, let's say you want to make $1 million a year or whatever the figure is. You've got to wake up, walk, talk, breathe, act like you're already earning that. Otherwise, you'll never get there. It's incredibly important. I had a conversation with an ex-client, actually. He's moved to Australia, did very well, but he moved to Australia because he'd envisioned it. He was waking up every day with Australia in the back of his head. Australia. Achieved it. But now he's like having a conversation with me, completely honest. He's stuck in a rut. So I don't know how to get to that next level. I'm like, because you don't believe that you're there or you can be there. Your headspace is still in the space that's like where it is now. That's why you're not growing.
So if I wanted to achieve something, I was to say Dubai, we'll use that as an example.
Yeah.
We have to wake up and envision ourselves there.
Like you've earned it already. Every day.
Well, to be fair, everybody that I've spoken to, I said, I am moving to Dubai in December.
There you go.
Not one person I've spoken to. I've said you're coming with me. I haven't even told you that I've been telling people that. But I know you want to move there, so I know I'm not just saying that I'm making a decision on your behalf.
Yeah.
Book a flight. A one-way flight. And book it.
Do you know the sartorial shooter was talking about this? He said the people that are really going to be successful, if they want to move to Dubai, they just go. They don't wait until they're loaded and then go. They just go.
Yeah.
Because there are opportunities in Dubai, and I know that if we grafted, we'd make it. I'm just scared, and I doubt myself, and I'm not fully committed. And maybe until I am, I will never get there. Maybe I'll be stuck intellectually, because that's how I see it. I see it as being stuck, dependent on my family at this point.
I think you've got to look at it the same way as like, you know, you left your 9-to-5 job, right? You've got to just do it. Like I don't think that thinking about things is,
and that's already reaping rewards. You know, we're getting clients. It takes some time. I didn't expect to be rich straight away. We're in a fortunate position. You know, I'm in a very fortunate position. You know what I mean? I have access to this studio. This is amazing. This is amazing. How dare I not take advantage of that and become as successful as possible, to give back to my family, to give back to people that, you know, I want to help. You know, how dare I not take advantage of that when there are some people who view success as just putting food on the table. You know, I have no choice. I must do this. I want to do this, and I can do it, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do it. So therefore, I'm going to become as successful as possible.
Yeah, that's something I actually wanted to touch on with you as well, Josh, is the perception of success. So the question I wanted to ask you is, how do I word this? What do I strive for? Do I strive to pursue something that I'm passionate about, or do I strive for monetary gain? Now, this was something that you posted about after the first in-person meetup at the Limitless University back in, I think that was 2019, was it?
Yeah, a long time.
And that was something that struck me quite well, because I was like, you hear everything these days is about monetary gain, and obviously you can achieve money through passion, but my question is what is more important? The pursuit of passion and value, providing value through your passion, or the sole pursuit of monetary gain?
Depends on you and the goal. So for me now, I don't need the money. I was saying this last night to the boys last night. I genuinely like waking up every single day, doing what I fucking love. That's it.
Yeah.
That to me, like, people aspire to have, even people with the Limitless team, right? They aspire to have like big houses and like Lamborghinis and like nice watches, and like you see all of these things, and we do achieve all of these things. It is a reality, but I think you've got to find your own level of success and your own goal. Like for me, I'm happiest when I've got my suitcase. That's it.
Traveling.
It's not the traveling, it's the ability to.
Yeah.
I love being able to just wake up and do what I want, when I want.
Claire says exactly the same thing.
Exactly. Like it's on my terms, because I spent so long living on everybody else's terms and feeling stuck, like you mentioned.
Dependent.
So long. Now that I've got that, the world's my fucking oyster. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
Like, that's success to me. It's not I'm not materialistic. I'm just not that guy. Like, it's not me. Like, there's other people within Limitless University that are that way inclined, and that's what motivates it. That's cool. That's what motivates
Oh,
them.
yeah. That'll be me. As soon as I can afford a Lamborghini, I'm buying one.
Yeah. I'm a bike guy. I'd much prefer to buy a Ducati.
Do you? You like bikes?
Yeah. It's all personal. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people look at success and levels of success by what everybody else deems it to be. Like, what's your level of success?
My level of success is not having to think about spending money.
Okay.
So
Not
just
looking at the bill.
yes, yeah, and
We talk about that a lot.
what I want is I want to pay for my sister's wedding, which is next year. That's a big goal of mine.
Congrats, sis.
Yeah, I want to pay for that, and I also want to ensure that no one in my family has to worry about money ever.
Okay.
in any
Yeah.
aspect of life.
Exactly the same for me. That comes first, you know. That comes first. Sort them, and then I'll think about. Like, I'm not buying a Lamborghini before my parents will go whatever they want in life. A nice house, the freedom, proper healthcare to make sure that they're healthy and they can live a long time and they can go on holidays whenever they want. That's first.
I think
and then
freedom.
I'll buy myself a Urus. You know, I can wait 30 years for that. They got 40 years of me. I got 40 years to get it.
Yeah.
They haven't got 40 years left to wait for me.
This is what I mean when I have these conversations. So many people don't understand how achievable those things are. It's like me personally. I'll be open and honest. So I pay my wife, my mum, my dad, and my sister all £2,000 per month each. They don't ever have to work if they don't want to, but they choose to work. That to me, that's £8,000 a month. Millions and millions and millions.
That's giving me goosebumps
But
just
you
thinking.
don't need a lot of money to have those fulfilling things.
Yeah.
You don't need to. You don't need to be earning ridiculous money buying Lamborghini. You don't need to. And I have these conversations with quite a lot of people. They aspire to succeed these huge things. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't make you hit a certain financial point from experience. Past that point, it doesn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, when you achieve those things, everything else past that is a bonus. That's why I wake up every single day now. I'm not a fucking billionaire. I don't want to be. This is probably not the conversation that you thought I'd have. I don't want to be a billionaire.
No,
I don't want to be a huge. I don't need to be. So there's no drive, there's no push for me to actually achieve that. But there's other people within Limitless where they do have those aspirations. Great, we're all pushing together. But it's finding what your level of success is and working towards what you want. Don't look at what other people deem success to be and what, like the Lamborghini. If that's what you want, not the perception of everybody else engraving in your own head. Like, is that truly what you want?
Freedom is what I want. That's something I'm big on. Economic freedom. I'm not saying, just a private jet everywhere. Like that's
what I want.
Yeah, that is what I want, but that's not what comes first in my mind. That's like secondary. To me, it's freedom. It's the ability to provide for the people that I love most in any circumstance.
You could be free 5 to 10k a month.
But do you know what? And this is interesting, right? Because I've said this before. Like, if I was making a certain amount of money, or I was able to choose, because somebody asked me, what would I really want for success? And I'm like, as I said, I want to retire my parents. I want my whole family to be happy. So I made the claim that I would happily work, because I used to work in Asda. Said I'd happily work in Asda for the next 20 years, living on that wage and that wage only, if I knew that I could provide for my parents for the rest of their lives. And I would do that in a heartbeat, and I would be the happiest man on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't care about me right now. That's what I mean. I do want the Lamborghinis, and I'm going to bloody get them. But I could wait 40 years and then have one. But at the same time, I've never had one or anything near. So maybe when I get one, I'm like, I could have done with an Audi. An Audi S-Line would have been fine. Do you know what I mean? It comes from me having no money, right? So I don't really know what material wealth is going to bring me. And nobody can tell me what that's gonna bring me. Maybe it'll make me happy, probably won't, but I am not in a position to make that claim,
So materialistic things, right? Perfect example. Have you ever rented somewhere where it's got a hot tub?
No.
Or
you talked about Wales 4 years ago.
So, right, perfect. I'll use the hot tub analogy because I've spoke about this quite often. When you hire a place or you have the novelty of a hot tub, right? It's amazing for the first day, maybe even the second day, and you don't want to get in it anymore. It's boring. It's just there. That's right. You're talking about. It's like Elliot, right?
He loves his Lambo.
Yeah, but he changes his car every probably 6 months. He's bored. But next, it gets boring fast. So a lot of people spend their entire life working towards these things. They get them, and then that's where they actually end up mentally struggling afterwards because they're like, why aren't I happy?
That's what a lot of people say.
It's the pursuit of
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, people say that
is.
if you see a fixed goal, right, this is when I'm going to stop working because I'm going to be happy then. But what happens when you've bought what the most expensive item? You've bought a super yacht. There's not much more you can buy.
Yeah.
At that point, people say that they get really depressed because
I've got a good
that's
point
it
on
now.
this,
There's no journey to further material wealth.
agree.
That's why it shouldn't be a journey to material wealth, because once you hit that, you can really become like, oh, but my Lambo isn't making me happy. There's nothing else to buy.
That is a good point. Are you into UFC by any chance?
I watch a little bit.
So Israel Adesanya.
I don't know who the fighters.
Okay, so Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion, did a podcast with Stephen Bartlett, and he was saying that all the UFC fighters have a goal of being champion. You know, it's perfectly understandable. And he said on the Stephen Bartlett Tyree CEO podcast that as soon as he won the belt, he was instantly depressed.
Yeah,
because he was like,
There's nothing else to achieve.
yeah.
I think
the journey in life is so much more beautiful than the goal.
It's easy to say though, because I can say
Probably.
that, but you know from experience of working with me that the way that I operate is never satisfied, which could be a problem because I'm always thinking, right, move the goalpost, which is fine. That's what I'm always going to do. Right, we've hit $1,000 a month, more. And I tend not to live in the moment. And Matthew will tell you that for a fact. I can be quite negative because I'm like, yeah, but it's not enough. Yeah, but it's not enough. Yeah, but that's kind of my attitude to things. And then what happens when we hit $1 million a year? And I'd be like, yeah, but it's not 10 million a year. And then what's going to happen? Am I going to wait until I'm a multi-billionaire, which I don't want to be, by the way. I don't think that's anywhere near necessary.
I went through the same thing as you.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like if we're supposed to enjoy the process, why aren't I enjoying the process? Why am I not satisfied?
So I had a shift about a year ago. I was exactly the same. Had a shift about a year ago where I was making a lot of money, like doing a lot of things, just go, not even lifting my head up to breathe. And then I just made the decision to actually cut all of them and just go all in on Limitless. I now earn less money, but to me, I'm waking up every single day. I don't need the money. I got the money in the bank. I don't need the money, but I can wake up every day now and help the clients that I work with. Now, the journey of the pursuit, I've now shifted that into my clients.
Yeah.
So now I'm fully embedded and invested into their pursuit. So now I don't have that feeling of that cliff top.
Yeah.
Sort of
But do you
analogy
feel
that
like you
talk about.
needed to go through a bit of the relentless?
Absolutely.
Because I'm not
savage.
in a position where I can be like, oh, I don't need to work. I don't need the money. I need the money. And but it's one of those things. It's like food. You don't think about it when you have it in abundance. Andrew Tate talks about this, right? I don't have money in abundance. Therefore, that's one of the main things that I think about. It's one of the things you think about least because you've achieved enough financially, as you know, from what you're telling me. So now you can do that. I mean, obviously, was that shift necessary at that point? You couldn't have done that too much earlier because you needed to build that.
100%.
Yeah. So we wouldn't be able to employ that attitude right now because we're so much earlier.
You've got to put the reps in. But we talk, actually, Andy Keeler talks about this. He talks about people look at balance the wrong way. People look at balance as, okay, right, I've got to work and then have time off on a week-to-week perspective. It's the wrong type of balance. Look at balance as, do you know what, I'm going to work my fucking arse off for 10 years. And then the rest of my life I can chill. It's exactly the type of balance that I've invested. I worked my ass off for 11, 12 years, and now I've got the balance where I can do what I want when I want and just help people. But it's just looking at balance in a slightly different way.
Yeah, because people see it as short-term balance, don't they? Like
people work for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
People work for and that's their perception of balance, but it's the wrong type of balance because it's not going to get them anywhere. So the fact that you're going through this phase right now, and I'll call it a phase because it is a phase, you should be, because you've not earned balance yet. But you should be every day just fucking knocking. I used to call 100 people a day like clockwork, 7 days a week at David Lloyd when I used to work there. Bang, 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 bang. But when I was growing my coaching business, like 200 to 300 direct messages a day. My fingers would fucking almost fall off. So I went through that phase. Now I don't have to. So I think you're in the age that you both at and what you're doing. I think you're doing the right thing. Like it's your time to fucking push. Like it's not the time to sit back. It's time to push. Especially with AI now, lean into it harder. Don't pull back.
Yeah.
Lean into it.
Yeah, that's just making me think a lot. That is.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? We're not going hard enough. I think that's an important lesson to both of us. We haven't earned the right to slack off, and I think I'm constantly going between different viewpoints. God, I'm working too hard because I have a problem with discipline, and I think that probably comes from a lack of direction from both of us. Like, what are we really aiming for here? Because we're saying we're going to be millionaires next year. We don't even know how to
It's
get
just-
it.
it's just
but
a
we
pipe
don't even
dream
know.
then,
We don't
isn't
even
it?
know how to get a $2,000 per month. And I'm saying we're going to be making. Well, when I say millionaires, let's say we'd be making 2 million a year from next year because we split it 50-50. That's not going to happen. It's not impossible, but we have no plan, so that makes it impossible.
Book
You
a
know.
flight. Just book it.
One in September.
your phone out there, man.
One in September to warm up, and then one in December to.
I think
to
we
go
should. I
there.
think we should go to Dubai
Yeah,
and see what happens.
I just saw like.
Commit.
Yeah,
Commit. Make it happen. Like I said to you about putting your headspace there. Like if you guys really want to make it happen, you'll make it happen.
yeah.
So commit. And then it puts that pressure on you, like, holy shit, I wanted to move to Dubai, the flights are booked in 6 months or a year time. I have no choice but to make this work. You could, from experience, you can do phenomenal things when your back's against the wall. You can do anything.
There's
But
only
that's-
one direction to move. Though, isn't there?
That's why I've started martial arts, and just for a bit of backstory for those of you who care, I'm sure a lot of you don't care because I chat shit in these podcasts. But in school, for example, throughout the year, I'd get C's, D's in mock exams and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when it came to my A levels, I had 3 A stars in when there was pressure.
Masters.
I only really perform when there's pressure and everyone's stressed and revising. I'm like, just chill. And the night before, like 1 a.m., they're revising. I'm in the gym. I'm chilling because the pressure it just allows me to open up. And I need a deadline also. And how many times have we looked at our schedule and gone, that's not urgent, next week, moving deadlines.
Business
all the
plan,
time.
for example.
You'll understand. I mean, this when you've got so much going on. Business plan. I still haven't created a bloody business plan. We're nearly a year on.
And you've got a degree in it.
I got a degree in business management. Yeah, it's completely useless though. You're probably better set because you haven't been programmed by institutions. Different topic. We can get into it if you want.
Probably not.
That would be
Probably
good.
best
Yeah,
not.
that
That's
would
like the C word, that, innit? You're attacking, but
No, you are right. And that's something we instill in Limitless, to be fair. Every single person just gets shit done. Just get it done.
yeah.
But there's no... LeBron James actually said this on a podcast. I can't remember what the podcast is, so don't quote me on that. But someone actually asked him, why are you in the gym every single day at 4 a.m?
Oh, I've seen this.
Oh yeah.
He was like, because my alarm goes off, my shoes and socks are on, I'm driving to the gym before we even had a chance to think. Too many people live in the waiting room. Just like when you go to a doctor's, right? Too many people sit in the waiting room. What we do at Limitless and everybody within it, we don't wait. We walk in straight into that doctor's office. We never sit in the fucking waiting room. We never sit there questioning it, dwelling, procrastinating. We just get shit done.
Andy gave me that vibe as well. Especially with him as a coach, I highly doubt he's gonna let me slack off. He's gonna why the fuck haven't you done what you said you're gonna do yesterday? Like what real reason do you have?
It's not even, it's a non-negotiable. It doesn't even cross our mind. It's like, I've had 1 hour sleep, I'm here. There's
Have you always been like that?
Yeah. Always.
So let me ask you a question that your answer might upset me, but I don't feel like that, which is a problem. Do you think that's
You can develop it.
so? You don't think it's born like that and that's it?
You can develop it. So like, I personally got ADD, so I'm very hyper focused on what I don't like to label myself or anything like that, but it has helped. It has really helped.
Sorry, that's my stomach.
I don't know that was then.
Like it does keep me hyper focused on things. It does help out massively.
Yeah.
But it's environment. Chris Williamson said this on podcast Diary of CEO actually. He did a bit of research and the most successful people are within a postcode. And people are now starting to orchestrate by their own land in Austin, by their own land and bring the right people in their own environment. So the kids are orchestrated and brought up in the environment that the parents are wanting them to be. Everything is environment. You get in the right environment, you can do unbelievable things.
But it can be developed. I mean, an extreme case, David Goggins.
But there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Environment.
I love it talking about environment and how it can shape you
This
as
is
a
what
person.
we talked a lot with Theo about this, and one of my claims was, and Matthew didn't completely disagree, but partially disagreed. Like, I have a problem with going out on the weekend when I shouldn't, and Theo knows I shouldn't because I got a diet to follow. I'm trying to cut weight, and I know I shouldn't. And Matthew obviously knows I shouldn't because I said I wasn't going to, but I do it. And I said, do you know that there have been studies that have been done with smokers taking them into a different environment and them being able to quit nicotine as if it's nothing.
Yeah.
The same why people suggest that if you go on holiday, don't smoke if you smoke, because it's the easiest time to stop.
Yeah,
you know.
I know alcoholics, well, not alcoholics, but people that drink a lot, go to Dubai because it's a Muslim country. They don't really drink. They just cut alcohol completely. They could be drinking like clockwork all the time and just cut it. The thing is, you're in Wales, right?
Drinking culture.
Drinking. Rugby,
We drink a lot, don't you?
pints.
Yeah.
You drink a lot over here.
Yeah,
So
and
it's just part of the culture.
Yeah, I think
This is what I was telling you. I mean, you said.
But there's two schools of thought.
Okay, you
though.
go. You go. on.
My issue with that is, and I think this is a well-established notion, that moving somewhere doesn't solve internal problems; it solves external problems. If the problem with you drinking is internal, because you can't control yourself, moving to Dubai isn't going to solve that. It's just going to.
How do you
it's
know?
going to shell.
How
it
do you
down
know
a
it's
bit.
internal though? How do you know I'm not just programmed by my environment?
Because I know you personally, and I know that you find any excuse internally to do it.
But there's opportunities here. I'm in the environment where that's possible. I go to Dubai. I'm thinking about, right, how can I network with Mike Thurston? I'm not thinking about how can I go to the pub. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
I mean it must be. What's your thoughts on that, Josh?
Depends on the deeper thing. The environment does play a massive. Like, it's that old saying, who you hang around with, right? If you put yourself in an environment where it's all the attributes that you want. So let's say you don't want to drink anymore. Let's say you want to have 6-pack all year round. Say you want to be killing it with business. And you put yourself around people who are doing that every single day. You become that person.
Osmosis.
You become that person. So yes, that I get what you're saying. Some people genuinely have deeper problems, which environment doesn't help. But for 99% of the population, it does. It's like if you're a lot of my school friends, they're still in the same fucking area, and the reason that they're not going to go anywhere is because they've not done anything different.
You ask them how they are, and they say same old.
Yeah, same old house, dog, baby, like paycheck to paycheck. Right, that's your life for the rest of your life.
That's my idea of hell.
Yeah, same.
And I'm trying to do everything I can to escape that.
You can break it. It's like what I've done in my area. You guys are doing in your area. Where I'm from in here is actually very similar environments. You can break through that. There is the odd person that can, but everything is against you. Whereas if you put yourself in an environment where people are like that, it's like Mario Kart going over fucking like speed thing.
Oh, the arrows.
Like you could just get there so much quicker.
Yeah.
Like when you put yourself around the right people, and that's it. Everyone within Limitless now is absolutely flying.
That's why I'm so intrigued in it, and intrigued in yourself as well. Because I see, like, I identify characteristics of what I want to be. Because I'm looking to myself in the future. I'm like, what does the Matthew Williams of 10 years' time want to be? What do I want myself to be? And I see those characteristics in people like yourself.
So,
Slow.
and he's a
Josh,
good example because he's
Elliot.
local. You know, we can look to Slow and spend as much time with him as possible because
He's like a celebrity down here.
yeah. I mean, especially up in Swansea area, you know, and there aren't many people, right? It's not a very affluent town. This is a very, very poor, rough town. I'm going to be honest. Well, it's not funny. It's true.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not money. There's no money down here. Wales generally.
You
go
have
up
like
to
the,
the
wealth, you
go
have
up
like
to
the wealthy
valleys,
people
right?
though who have got like a business like for 30, 40 years, you know, like well-established people.
Every 100 people is mildly successful, but everybody else is the carbon copies of each other.
Yeah.
And there aren't many. My point was there aren't many people that I can look to try and build a positive network because everybody is engaging in the behaviours that I'm trying to get away from. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I moved to Dubai and it's flipped on its head. Yeah. You find one or two people that are engaging in bad behaviour, but probably tourists.
Why do you think anyone that moves to Bali all of a sudden gets a 6-pack?
It's engineered into them that they have to.
The
culture.
whole culture is health, wellness.
Yeah. There aren't many fat Asians, really. Have you seen a fat Japanese man?
Chinaman, yeah, but no, not Japanese.
Chinaman. Can we say
Well,
that?
you know every.
I know them all. I know them all.
No, you are right.
Yeah.
It's like why are Italians always really small and all they eat is carbs? Because they're not overeating.
The Greeks, the oil and everything.
If you actually go there, the portion they're not. It's all environments what you used to. And this is what I'm saying. You can choose what environment that you're a part of. If you choose to, I was actually having a conversation with Lou about this. Can't pronounce his name. Can't pronounce his name.
Lou is fine. I mean, I'm sure he's used to it by now.
Yeah. It still grows me about it. But you can't, if you're constantly hanging around people that work the 9 to 5, they're bitching and moaning about the government, the weekend, this, that, the other, negative, like looking forward to getting smashed at the weekend, and then they're back to their miserable life. If you're constantly around that, you're going to be like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not strong enough to get away from that on my own.
No, I protect my... I don't really want to get spiritual about it, but I protect my energy quite a lot.
It's a text message away.
This is what I'm saying, though. I mean, I understand. I mean, you're clearly more strong-willed than me for not engaging in that.
Because I see my life. I see the life here that I want, and I know that it's like a magnet. It's going to draw me back from the life that I want.
Yeah, but your environment in itself is doing that, whether you know it or not. Do you know what I mean? Just being here. That's why I'm saying let's just go somewhere else. We were going to go to Thailand, and then thinking as videographers, there aren't that many opportunities in Thailand. So
it's not necessarily just the environment; it's the people.
Yeah,
it's the people. It's not just the location. It's not a pack up and leave. It's like if everyone was absolutely fucking crushing it in Swansea,
I'd move to Swansea.
You'd move to Swansea, right? It's the people. It's the environment. You've got to. Right, we're having this conversation because you sent me a fucking text message on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
so
not,
quick.
It's not hard to connect with people who you want to be around. So if you want to achieve a certain thing, okay, who else is like that? Text. Just reach out. They ignore you. Text them again in a week's time. Keep going. Keep trying. Like it is that easy. But so many people are so held back and they're so afraid. Wes Watson actually said this. He was like, he drives to the gym and his Urus, his rolls, all of these things, right? Not a single person is coming up to him saying, how the fuck do you make money? They're not asking him. Instead
That's what I'm going to do now.
Whinging it. Just ask the question. Because no one minds help. When people have actually made money, they don't mind helping people. They don't mind giving the information, but no one asks.
But I think that's largely because everyone has this like program, this belief into them that all rich people are knobs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're not. I find that the more people I meet who are affluent and have money are the most giving.
100%.
And like, you need to change the way you think as well, because like the programming that's done into you by school and the education system. I'm going to try not to go too deep into this, but
I'm well up for
the
it.
program that goes on into the hacking as well from like a young age, and the biohacking as well.
You look at universities. I don't think universities are run by the university. I think the course is developed by the companies that want to program people with their values and their cultures.
Agreed.
It's like, what do they want you to be like in society? I believe in the Matrix. I do. I'm going to say it. I shouldn't really talk about it because we might get demonetized. But I believe that there's a large group of people that are meant to stay where they are so that the elites can stay elite. And it's true. The rich can't stay rich if the poor get rich also. The poor need to stay poor. It's just the game. I don't like the game, but you've got to play the game.
Game's the game.
So the game is the game. So what I'm saying is universities, right? The companies that they have their values, obedience, do as you're told, listen to us, and always turn up on time,
Rely
blah,
on
blah,
us.
blah. And I got penalised for one of my courses because I didn't turn up to a few of the tutorials. The tutorials weren't mandatory, but they wanted me there, right? And it wasn't graded, and they deducted like 15% of my final mark. I had an 80, which is really good, and they took marks. I was like, but I did really, really well on my own. Like, no, but you didn't do it the way we wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing I find with institutions now, and that's the reason I made the comment that my degree is useless, is because I don't like to rely on that. I'm in no better position than you. All I've got is more. I've just had access to more of the words that I need to know. But it doesn't mean you can't learn it. It's just words on a screen. You can learn it. You're in a better position because you're not programmed by the do it this way, do it that way, corporate. Make sure you do what you're told. Make sure when you work for a company you do this. And I got bored of it so quickly, and people were like, yes, sir. I'm not a yes, sir kind of guy. I'm a rebel. I don't like... and this is why I'm so...
bad boy.
This is why I'm always trying to get more successable, because I don't like to do what I'm told.
No,
I really don't like to do what I'm told. And it's really annoying because I'm at a position where I haven't the bargaining power to make that choice, to do whatever I want. I can't. You know, I'm dependent partially on my parents and dependent on, you know.
Well, it comes
people.
back to the point I made about freedom and
Yeah,
that's what
I haven't got
success
the
is.
freedom, but I need the freedom to thrive in life. I can't imagine. I'd feel caged if I worked a 9 to 5 and thinking, oh, can I get time off to go on holiday? I'm like,
That's
who? In what world are you allowing yourself to go through that? I personally cannot grasp it, and I know you two can't either. But there are some people that just fall into it and are content with it, and I can't get over it. I cannot rest until I am able to do what to as you say, to get to your point. And maybe I won't want a Lambo. Yeah. Maybe I'll just like the fact that if I want to go to Dubai for 2 weeks, I can just go.
Just rent one. You don't need to buy one. Just rent it. Feel it. Just feel it. What you're saying is a really, really good point, and I think this is where the UK is going wrong. Like I was in Norway, and I was having a coffee, and there was this guy next to me. I noticed he had a Richard Mille. So I asked him. I was like, "Really nice watch. Like, what do you do?" Started talking to him. Again, goes back to my point. I can see you've got money. What do you do? Like, I asked him. Right, got talking, and we ended up talking about the economy in Norway and how it works. So what they do over there is every business has a flat rate tax, which is a lot less, about 17%. And then the employees are taxed the same as what they are in the UK. So the more you earn, the more you pay, right? So because they understand that if you look after the business owners look after the employed. Whereas the UK, they just tax you to the point where it is so incredibly hard to actually become successful.
But that's what they want. They want you to live at a point where you're not able to make enough to escape,
So
but you make just enough so you're not going hungry. It's like keeping you at a point where there's hope.
Yeah,
there's hope for you. And I feel like, and I'm gonna be honest. It is all the whole Andrew Tate Matrix shit that's got me to think about this. To think, well, maybe the promises they're making about the NHS, maybe they're just kind of delaying everything and they're going to continue to do it. It's like I heard something, and I can't cite this, and I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to say it anyway. Beachfront property in Miami. Dan Payne, I think, said this, and he said that there are billionaires and millionaires and wealthy people for the past decades buying property there, and the government have been telling people, don't buy beachfront property, the water levels are rising. And I'm thinking, are the sea levels rising, or are they trying to get a good deal on beachfront property? So I'm thinking now, I'm being fooled. Not everything I'm told by the government is true.
Well, they're showing you one hand and then playing the other, aren't they?
Do as I say, not as I do, and don't look at what I do, because I don't want you to copy me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm feeling now, right, I've got to, and this is what the point where we've got to make our own way of life. No one's coming to help me. You know, it's people like you that are helping me, not the government. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't really say this because all these keywords are going to really do badly.
Well, no, and the thing is, though, the business mentors are like sort of shunned, aren't they? Like
the problem, there's a lot of bad ones. That's the issue.
They make a business mentor to be like a bit of a scam. Like
there's a lot of bad ones. Now, this is where that rap's come around. It's not business mentorship as a whole. It's because there's been a lot of bad experiences with a lot of people, and I understand that. That's why people are skeptical. That's why people hold back. In my opinion, I didn't mentor anybody until I'd been in business about 8 years-ish. 8 years.
That's experience as well.
Like some people, they kill it in 6 months. Oh, I'm going to help other people do it now. What? You haven't earned the fucking right to do that. Like, what can you provide to somebody else? And then that's where business mentorship gets a bad rap, because it's people like that which we don't agree with. That's why every single person within Limitless has been vetted by us. We all vote them in. It's everybody's choice. It's not just anybody doing it.
I wonder if Shell find himself a spot on board at some point, a few years when he's giving up the reins. I don't think he will. I asked him that question, see, because he's getting to the point now where he doesn't really need to have an active role as a coach. And he said he wants to. He wants to continue being an online coach. I said, you have a team now. You can automate this. You can step back and just watch it grow on its own, really. I mean, just be a leader.
Yeah.
And he said, he wants to have an active role. And he's exactly the same.
I think that only goes so far, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
There will come a point.
he's the same. But he just genuinely wants to help people, and that's one of his strengths. He's not a material guy. He could finance, at the very least, a very, very nice car and stand out like a sore thumb. He makes a lot more money than the average person down here. It's not a very wealthy area. And, especially the area, he lives in, it's not a very wealthy area. So he could stand out and he could do that. He could be wearing fancy stuff, and he doesn't really, you know what I mean? He's like you, I guess, and just, likes nice stuff, but doesn't try and show off with all of the nice things he can buy. I didn't know he made much until
It was your post, I think, that exposed
him. No, but you wouldn't know by looking at him. And that's the thing. I feel like I got a long way to go in my mind, because I feel like as soon as I make money, I'm going to start telling people.
People who I noticed this in when I was walking down Porto Banús in Marbella. A little story. There was this group of lads, and they all had like Balenciaga, Gucci belts,
Moncler,
this, that, and the other. And they all walked past this chap, and I noticed this older gentleman was like sat, like having a cigarette with a coffee, with shades on, just kind of looking out on his own, chilling, like reading a book. Put the cigarette out, walked past these lads, and they were just being quite rowdy and quite leery.
Walked onto his yacht.
Bleep, bleep, Lambo, and just drove off. That's the difference between people who actually have money and people that have a little bit of money and then try and act like...
Do you know what I've heard as well? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
I've heard stores like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, for the rich, like people who can just about afford a couple of grand or a couple of £100 in a t-shirt. Logos everywhere, Louis Vuitton. For the ultra rich, they take the logos off.
Yeah.
So you can buy Louis Vuitton, the stuff they don't sell in the shops, and it's the stuff with no logos on it. So you could be wearing a Lazda t-shirt or Louis Vuitton. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I noticed that. Well, I haven't noticed it, but I've heard that the ultra rich, they're muted in the showing off aspect of money.
The man Gadsby talks about this all the time.
Yeah, he says just buy a cheapish top and tailor it.
Look at his t-shirts, and the stuff he wears. He's like, his fashion is on point, and there's not.
It's because he buys affordable. Well, not affordable. I'm sure he spends money on stuff, but buy cheaper, affordable clothing. You can spend up to like 50 quid in a t-shirt. Maybe that's decent amount. You don't need to spend much more than that, and then tailor it, get it tailored, and that's what makes it look nice on you, is the way it fits. I mean, I've got a very unique body shape, so have you, Matt. So that would look way better than buying Louis Vuitton, and you see people and it's like draped over them. Do you know what I mean? They look like shit, dirty shoes, Louis Vuitton trousers or something.
in their leg.
Yeah, shut up.
You've got companies like Legend London now.
Oh,
I literally have about 5 of these pairs of trousers.
Are they
They
Legend
look
London?
really nice.
30 quid or something.
Yeah. I was going to buy jeans from there.
Who'd have thought we were doing a fashion haul with Josh Dexter? Fashion haul on the podcast. You touched upon an interesting point there, Marbella. Now, obviously, you've got something big coming up in Marbella.
Very big.
I'm very interested now. Obviously, myself and Alex, we're considering going, but we've decided not to. What's going to happen there? To my understanding, it's like a bit of a networking opportunity, is it?
So we've pulled all of our connections into one weekend.
Okay.
Every connection that we've ever made into one weekend. It's a chance for us to educate. It's a chance for you guys to connect with the right type of people that you wouldn't typically have. And for such a low amount, it's a fucking no-brainer. Like for you to, like we spoke about, you can buy your way into a conversation, into a door. I mean, our standard ticket's 250 quid. You can have a conversation with multi-millionaires. Like the return on your investment just by showing up and purchasing that ticket is unreal. It's not me trying to sell that to you.
No, that's the truth.
I don't get a cutback from it. Like it's not me trying to sell that to you. But if I had that opportunity when I started, fuck me, I'd be biting your hand off.
Yeah.
You're changing my mind now.
I know.
It's only because we were looking at the 3-day luxury $3,000 package.
You don't have to get. So you're going to have the same networking opportunities from the standard ticket.
Yeah.
The difference is you're going to get closer proximity, closer,
Smaller,
more time,
smaller.
attention, like, detail. Probably getting to know those people on a personal level. The higher ticket. We've got a yacht. It's funny actually. The yacht that we've actually got. When I was living in Marbella, I was having steak with James Vogel, one of the other mentors at Limitless. Me and him were having steak, and we looked at this yacht, and it had like this big name on it, Nina. It's called like Nina. The yacht was. It's like, I wonder what that guy does. Had like a hot tub on it, like looks amazing. My stomach's going now. I had like a hot tub on it and everything. It was amazing. It was like, one day we'll be on that. 2 years later, that's the yacht that we've got for this event.
Wow. Wow.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all going to be on that. Like 2 years later. It's just fucking cool.
I mean, we've had a Mindy experience or something like that. We're thinking, imagine getting Cooper Chell on the podcast. That'd be so cool. All of a sudden, we're in the back of his RS6. Within a short amount of time, it's like, I know it's a smaller scale, so that's a big thing. Like, we could be thinking, I can't wait until we can live in Dubai. This time next year, we might be thriving in Dubai. In fact, I hope we are.
Well, I mean, we've just got to...
I reckon we book a flight for January, see, and go.
I prefer Marbella.
Do you reckon?
Why is that then? Why Marbella?
It's just more relaxed. It's more relaxed. For me, it all depends on your character. You could probably... I'm crazy laid back, like just the way that I am. Dubai is very much like go, which is good. Probably in the phase in the season that you guys are in, I'm relaxed. I just want to chill on a nice walk.
I lived in London for a couple of years and I loved it. Apart from the danger and the crime. No, I was. It was. There was a there was a thing on London Bridge once, and I was around the corner hearing the screams and the running. It's like it's a constant threat, and it does worry me. In Dubai, I don't think I'm going to get that. I think it's going to be safe. I mean, I feel it really is safe from people who've actually lived there. I'm sure if you had seen the videos of people leaving stuff, and that's the truth apparently. And I want that. I want to be able to live the hustle life in a city with the safety. And I think Dubai, there is no better place really, is there?
No.
Marbella, you don't get the safety as much. It's safer than the UK. You've still got the inspirational aspects where there's a lot of money there. But what I found is there's a lot more wisdom in Marbella, because a lot of people who've got the money and who are there, they're older. So when you're having conversations, you're having conversations with pure wisdom. It's not young guys in their 20s that have like got rich quick.
Yeah, the crypto guys.
You've got real years of experience behind the conversations that you're having. That's what I like about Marbella.
And that's like fast tracking yourself onto like a bit of a mentorship from them then, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I thought about that quite a lot since you said it, about buying time off people. Because if I was to invest in you, I'm investing in 13 years of experience into at this young age. I think that's key.
Yeah.
Like I think if you could go back to say if you were in our position now, what would you do?
Bankrupt myself for knowledge.
Yeah,
Literally.
That's what I've done. I've even pulled out my financial investments. It was just making me a couple of percentage points every month. I think the return on investment from pulling that out of that and putting it into the knowledge of a man who's done it for a couple of decades, actually.
years.
It's I mean, it's a no-brainer. I haven't got that much in there, see. So I've got a couple of grand. It's going to take me 20 years to make a notable money from it. The return on investment is slow. It was slow compounding. Or I take it out, sacrifice that investment and invest it in myself now at 22. And I thought, oh, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Surely it's better, though, to invest in a way to sharpen your tools.
Yeah,
you know, like the whole saying.
Yeah, upskilling at this age.
If I had 7 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend the first 6 sharpening my axe.
Yeah.
Surely it applies to that logic.
Alex Hormozy talks about this, like the SME 500.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Like, absolutely love that.
Sarah was talking about that.
Absolutely love that.
On our podcast, he was saying, talking about Hormozy, saying, there's all these young guys putting money. Oh, and yeah, I've seen the clip as well. Putting money into like crypto, S&P 500, and I added index funds. I got trading softwares. Like, I have got things running, but I'm starting to think now I'm not putting any more money into that. Why? Because that's not upskilling me. It's just allowing me to be a little bit financially dependent in 15 to 20 years.
Yeah,
I could pull every penny out, put it all into myself, and probably do it in 5.
I like the thought of investing myself and really in developing my skill set, because that translates. Having skill sets translates anywhere in your life.
Oh yeah, it's not just time. So time is the aspect, but also think about during that time period. If you're just looking at my background, how much money that I've personally invested into me. So you're getting access to all of those things as well. It's like recently, like last month, paid $10,000 for like a Grant Cardone course. I'm always fucking spending money on knowledge.
I always look at these things and I'm always thinking I haven't got quite enough money, so I need to make more money so I can spend more money.
Yeah.
But that's what we do within Limitless. So you've got access to that for a fucking fraction. It's like you've got access to all that knowledge with a £250 ticket to Marbella.
Yeah.
Like hundreds, if not millions, invested into self-development and experience.
Just out of interest, no real reason I'm asking, how many tickets are left?
There's no super VRPs left. They're gone.
No super VIPs?
No, they're
not
gone.
going.
There's a couple of the middle tier, and then there's a few of the standard tickets.
Because I'm really thinking about this. I'm like
I don't.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest. I have no commission for it.
no.
I'm not selling it.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it, I'm like, it could be worth it, because you could learn one thing from one person that could stick with you, and then that could mean that your £250 has bought you one piece of knowledge that can cause you then to make tens of thousands.
You're in SMMA as well. I mean, you guys can sell packages for 5-10k a pop.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't know, but I want
No,
to.
it's because we're not targeting people who could spend 5-10k. We're targeting online coaches. They haven't got a lot of them won't spend 5-10k. The smaller accounts we're targeting. We're not targeting big companies.
I'm just so...
I'm tempted to spend like 14-hour days now just building this fucking crazy business and then just flying out there.
Because my intention is I would like to become part of Limitless, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic...
So that's what I've put. I don't make
opportunity.
enough every month right now to pay for it. I've pulled money
No,
out of my
same, that's
investments,
what
and it also creates that abundance. Right? It's like, well, I'm paying £500 a month for this, and I don't want it to end, so I need to make the money.
That's one thing I like, is the abundance mindset.
Yeah.
I think if you live your life scared to spend,
Saving every
then
penny.
that means you're scared to learn and scared to develop.
No, you're just so risk averse.
I think
Gotta be
you've
willing to put the risk.
got to. I mean, you probably know this. You've got to take a risk.
Yeah.
You're definitely an advocate for that, I feel.
100%. I've gone to zero so many times. Purposely.
But then you can only go up from zero.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
So people always say, what if, right? They always say, yeah, what if this goes wrong, or like this happens, or this happens.
Or if it goes really fucking right.
What if it goes right?
Yeah, you never know either way.
Like-
You try, you either fail or succeed. You don't try, you fail.
For me, right, if you're, and this isn't like against anybody in this financial bracket, but if you're £2,000, £3,000 a month or below, you're broke. Invest all of it, because you're at zero anyway.
We're well below that right now.
You're at zero anyway, and that's
Yeah,
not,
we
that's
are,
not-
we are. We
it's not
literally-
good. Like you haven't got the ability to pay for these things or like do that, this, and the other. So you're at zero anyway. So every ounce that you've got. So we have guys that come on Limitless. They put the fucking money on their credit card. Like we've got payment plans so you can get started for about £100 per month. There's no excuse not to start. Like no excuse, and that's not me trying to sell.
Yeah, okay.
It's just like from my experience. What I know now, if there's a piece of knowledge that I don't have, like a piece of the jigsaw that I'm missing, I'm finding a way.
So really, and this is an awkward question to ask, because obviously Matthew's interested in working with Limitless, but is Matthew's excuse that I not quite there yet, that I've got the money, is that good
It's
enough?
not valid. No, I know. I
So
can
there's
answer that.
absolute possibility for you to find a way and for you to help facilitate that way for you to get involved in.
Well, it's a case of how much do you want it.
Of course.
Do you want to work?
Yeah.
Do you want to
How
succeed?
much?
I'm saying Limitless to you now, Al.
You're selling it to yourself, man. You're basically negating your own excuse here.
I was never making an excuse, because I feel as if I'm in a point in my life where I've got no preset installed in me. Do you know, for example, you said about you have a degree, so that's programmed you a certain way. I don't feel like I've got that in me right now. I feel like I'm not programmed a certain way.
That's not bad, mind.
No, I'm not. I think it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm so eager to learn things, and I want to progress. And I think that investing in mentorship is probably one of the best ways to get there.
Yeah. I even just having a call with Andy Keeler this morning. The way he was speaking to me and the things he says he can help me with, and the reason I went with Andy, by the way, and I'm for those who don't know, Andy's another coach at Limitless, another mentor. I have issues with emotional regulation. I have issues with impulse control,
fantastic at
and that Theo said that's his specialty.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bigger problem for you, Matt. I think your problem is probably just know what tools do I need to be successful. Same with me, but my problem is dragging me right back. I fall into self-destructive behavior. My mind is all over the place. I have no discipline, and I've been told that he's the man for that.
He's the best in the world.
And I'm so optimistic. I'm not excited because I know this is going to be I'm going to have to open myself right up, and he's going to see through my bullshit, if there is bullshit that I'm going to present to him.
He'll find it.
So I need that, and I think it's beneficial for Matthew as well because of our dynamic. It's been holding Matthew back by me being a pessimistic, negative piece of shit sometimes, and it's true, and I am honest about that, and I can be a dick because I'm trying to justify the fact that I've let my emotions take over. I have the impulse control of an infant child.
Listen, you choose. This is when you come into Limitless. You choose who you want to really, really work hands on. Like, it's your choice. We've all got different skill sets and different experiences. So I don't work with people when it comes to mindset because I'm not the expert. Like, I have no sympathy for you, but I'll fucking support you. I'll bend over backwards for you. I won't. No.
What's your thing?
No, I'm very to the point. Like
Black and white.
black and white.
I'm like that.
There's no bullshit.
Yeah.
And we have calls and we turn people away. Like, I'll have a call with somebody and I'll say, you're not the right fit.
I think that's good. Alex Amos, he spoke about this as well, actually, about turning people away.
Yeah.
He said, what's the difference between Harvard and someone who says I can make you 10k a month? He says Harvard turns people away. And you have to be a right fit for the cause.
Exactly. But look at what we've done, right? The reason we're talking about Limitless is because of the results and the impact that we have. If we're just taking on everybody and half of those people didn't succeed, we wouldn't have that same conversation. We want every single person we take on to fucking crush it.
But you have a right to demand that.
You have a right to be selfish about your own business. I mean,
yeah. But it just looks good on us.
Yeah.
Everybody within it is killing it. Makes more people want to be a part of it. Like, if we're just taking on and this is where, again, a lot of other, not naming names or shitting on any other mentorship, this is where they go wrong. They just say yes to everybody, and it's a numbers game for them.
cash in the bank sort of thing.
Literally, we haven't made our money from mentorship. We made our money from business, not from mentor, and that's the difference.
Well, if you look at Elliot, he was a millionaire at 21,
it's like Forex gurus, right? A lot of these guys, a lot of the top traders, right? And I was going down that road. And I did a program, a trading program in London, and I wanted to be, well, firstly investment banking, and then I wanted to go down trading, sell-side trading for Morgan Stanley. That was my dream, right? And that's what I wanted to do. And then I realized I can't do what I'm told, so I'm not going to do that anyway. But a lot of them were saying, the guys who sell you, like, give us this much money, we'll help you build. A lot of these guys, why are they making money from that? Because the real traders are making millions every day. They don't need to sell courses. They'll give you knowledge for free. They'll tell you for free, and they won't give you their trade secrets, but they'll give you the information you need. They make traders make the most money in the world, man. Some of these guys are making £100 million a day. You don't know who they are, though. They're hidden.
No.
These guys are rich, right? And the guys who are selling these Forex things and Forex schemes, they're probably only making money from that because they're not good at trading.
It's their reliance, isn't it?
That is something you've got that I've been considerate of. Like, a lot of these people who are like desperate for you to pay the money for their course, have they made money trying to teach you the things that they're trying to teach you? Like business mentors, if they're desperate for you to get involved, if you're turning people away, you don't need the money.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look. That's my point. You know, it's you got to be careful, I think, and I am careful, and that's what drew me to Limitless. It's almost like it's not a guarantee. No, I'm not seeing it as a guaranteed win because I'm very much in control of whether I win or lose. And Slough told me that. So when you get involved, it's worth the money and more. But it's up to you what you do with what they give you to do, right? And I'm sure.
For those of you who are unaware, due to our insane editing skills, we had to take a break because one of the cameras died, and Alex can't remember his point.
But I'm such a good editor. Well, AI is such a good editor; they won't even know.
No, so I'm going to ask Josh this question because it's something that relates to me and something I want to know. How do you help someone unleash untapped potential and rid themselves of limiting beliefs?
Good question.
Very good question.
Oh, you could tell it's a good one. Think about it.
I'm very black and white. So, like we kind of discussed before, living in the interim isn't something that goes on in my head ever. So, I'm very good at simplifying things like that, like limiting beliefs. A lot of limiting beliefs is living in the interim, because it's overthinking, it's holding yourself back, it's all of these doubts and these worries and these things. It's all in the waiting room. I'm very, very good at skipping past that quite easily, and just being around my terminology and what I do and what I say to people and how I say it. I'm very good at, if you do this, you'll achieve this. There's no if, buts, maybes.
So binaries.
There's no tug of war in your head about anything when it comes to me. It is, do this, you'll achieve this. Do that, this will happen. It's to the point. So I'm not a mindset expert. Someone within Limitless, Andy, mindset expert. But I'm very good at, me personally, I'm very good at cutting past that bullshit and getting to the point and just simplifying the process. Is that the answer that I had to think about that?
Yeah, I like that
Matt,
though, because I'm quite guilty of having limited self-belief. I don't know why. I think getting to the root of that would be quite interesting for myself.
My wife, perfect example. So my wife's a coach as well. She has the same thing, same limiting beliefs as well. She's a phenomenal nutritionalist. Phenomenal. Best I've ever seen across all my years in the industry. I'm not just saying that. She's amazing at it. She has limiting beliefs, and what I did with her, I got my whiteboard out. Right, what do you want to achieve? How many people do you want to help? Okay, how many sales calls do you actually need to close that many people? How many people do you need to reach out to actually get that many sales calls? Okay, when do you want to achieve this by? 6 months, let's say. Right, okay, broke it down. You need to message X amount of people, and you'll achieve that. And just drop the pen and walked off.
That's
Drop the pen and walked off.
That's an attractive way.
I like that.
For somebody like me to hear information in that form. However, is it as easy as that?
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
It is as easy as that. But it's the tug of war that goes on in people's head. Look, you've just asked that question. Yeah, but
That's limiting belief.
That's my limiting belief.
In your own head.
Thinking that might not be possible. That even if I do that, I won't achieve the result that I wanted to.
Socks on, shoes on, get to work. It's that same thing. Just you asking that question, you're going back into the waiting room. Like, I'm very good at staying out of that waiting room the entire time.
I'm always in the waiting room, I find.
Yeah, most people are.
I need to eliminate that immediately.
Most people are. Like, you sat there watching snooker on that TV in the corner of the doctor's waiting room.
Snooker. Yeah,
I can envision that.
Those doctor's waiting rooms where you got that little
tiny little
crap
box
TV.
TV
Box
with
TV.
snooker just on. You sat there like just tapping your pen, and there's a kid in the corner with that. It's like on a table where they're like,
Oh, the little yeah.
Those jigsaw puddle things they have in
I can
banks.
picture it. I can literally picture the waiting room, and that's where most of the people that I help and most of the people that I speak to, they're all sat in there. I'm just walking past them. I'm going straight in and getting
You're the
treated.
doctor.
I'm not the doctor.
Getting them out to the
I'm
waiting
getting
room.
them treated. Like,
No, you just go in and like, what am I waiting for?
I'm going up to the doctor's office, opening the door, and say, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, he's ready for you."
Yeah, that's so interesting because I always find myself in the waiting room all the time.
Most people.
And I think that for me to sit here and pretend as if I'm not, it wouldn't be very self-aware.
But why do you think you're there though?
Well, in the waiting room,
Why do you think? Well, so when you're not in the waiting room, what does that look like in real life terms?
Just getting shit done. I'm just doing the do.
ticking boxes just
Ticking
constantly.
boxes. So, like, perfect example of this. When I was growing my coaching company, I broke the numbers down myself. I can't remember the numbers exact now, but I remember I signed up 3 people in a month. It was crap. I was like, how can I 10x this? How can I sign up 30 people? I broke it down exactly how many times I posted, how many people I messaged, like exactly what I did, and I 10x the input and I got 10x the output. I signed up 30 people in one day once.
Can you imagine if we had even 2 SMMA clients in 1 month would be a win for us.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we don't break it down, and I love breaking things
It's
down.
procrastinate. It's because we haven't put a plan in place.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm circling back and realising now. Shout out to my mum as well for emphasising it to us. We had a for our birthdays we had a joint celebration, right? So we were all sat up on the upper terrace up there.
Upper terrace,
and we were
yeah.
with our mothers and we were chatting. And my mother's like worked in a bank and she's like she's been involved in finance for quite a while, and she said to me, Alex, we need a business plan.
Yeah,
Obviously, my
because-
mother doesn't know about business to an extent.
Yeah, but she said that because of getting grants and loans and stuff.
Yeah, but it's circling back to the notion of that we need a plan, because without plan, there isn't planned action, and without planned action,
Well,
there
that's
is
it.
not planned
That's
results.
it. I keep saying that. We're just fucking around here, cruising, you know. And for me personally, none of that really matters, and that's why I haven't asked for business coaching, you know. And I've heard if I wanted business coaching, you're one of the best at that.
I'm the best in the world.
Yeah. And you
said that without flinching.
and
I
I have no reason to dispute that. You know, Josh Thomas, I follow him on Instagram, and he said mindset coaching and the business you. You know, and if I wanted specific business coaching, I would just ask you. You know, I mean, we could have a discussion about that. But it's not. That's the thing. See, I think the reason that we haven't done a lot of things because I got a business degree, I at least know some of the steps that we can take. I'm not. I didn't ignore all of the course material. The problem with me is my mindset. Once I fix that, I have the foundations to build some things. So that's why I think it goes back even further for me.
Here's a piece of advice, right? I actually put up like a post about this. I don't know if you saw it, about like when it's like a foggy street and you can only see the step in front of you, right? Going back to what I just said about breaking things down and reverse engineering it, what did you guys do to get one client? Okay, break that down. Now, this is where most people fuck up. Let's say you're trying to get somebody onto a call. You're trying to get somebody onto a call, but you're thinking about the sale. That's not, you can't see the sale yet. They're not even on a call. Not even got the opportunity. You got to think about each step at a time.
It's closing and
Every
selling are
step.
two different things then, really.
Correct, man. I don't even. My sole intention when I'm talking to somebody is A, help them. Tick. B, if I feel like I could really help them, get them on a call. I'm not even thinking about closing them or selling them the money or anything. Get them on a call.
That's what we're doing wrong. I mean, I haven't even started with the real outreach, but it's sort of just like a couple of messages. Do you fancy this? This is our pricing strategy. Have a look at our pricing strategy. It's like when I asked, first thing I asked Andy, how much you charge? He's like, I don't even know you. Let me help you first. I mean, I didn't even know if I could help you. Got me on a call. I didn't know how much it was until he was certain he could help me, and he told me, I think you need this package.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he said that, it was a clause because I knew I wanted his help. I was asking to pay at that point, as opposed to him throwing numbers in my face like, whoa, now what's going on here now? I'm not paying that much for I don't even know what at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to pay him towards the end, whereas at the beginning, if he'd thrown that at me, I'd be like,
Oh no, you get hesitant straight away.
yeah, straight away, it would have put me off.
But this is something I want to learn as well.
Yeah.
I'm eager to learn. I want to mold myself into a high level man and a high level individual.
Yeah.
And I think the only way realistically to do that is to be around other high level men who operate on the same term that I wish to operate on.
How would you define that then, high level man, to finish with that question? If you believe that is a appropriate
Everyone
term.
goes around saying I'm a high level man.
It's come from Andrew Tate. That's what he,
I don't believe in a high level man. I believe in a man being a man. I'm very old school in my ways. We all are within Limitless. We open the doors for our women. Like we pay for dinner. Like we lead from
I
the
believe
front.
in that, yeah.
Massive believer of like those things.
traditional masculinity.
I'm very traditional. Very, very traditional.
Yeah.
And that's the. I mean, we'll be here for fucking hours, but that's the problem with a lot of like men these days. I don't necessarily believe in a high value man. I mean, what defines you is just opinion, subjective, right? But I believe in old school traditional values, and that's what's it's like Dan Pena talked about the pressure of a man's handshake is now weaker than a woman's.
and women's are stronger.
It's pathetic.
Do you judge people by the way they shake your hand?
Yes. I can suss someone out in the first 5 seconds.
What did you think of our handshakes? That's an interesting
Oh
question.
fuck you! I feel exposed now.
That's right.
I came in and shook your hand, and now you're assessing people's handshakes.
I knew that you would assess handshakes, and
But maybe he knew that you knew that. And he
so,
felt
for
the
example, now when
nervousness.
this podcast is over, I'm not going to shake Josh's hand because
I don't want to
listen,
anymore.
Listen, because we're sitting down, and you should never shake a man's hand sitting down. I've learned. So yeah, I want to know that now. Actually,
Yeah, so yours was
be straightforward as you can be.
Mine was pathetic, was it?
yours was weak. Yeah, yours was strong.
Fuck. So so what does that say about me then?
It shows that when you walk into a room, you're not fully confident.
No, I wasn't. I came in, I didn't even look at you.
Exactly. So you got to walk into every fucking room like you're the best in the world at what you do. Every situation. People do. They judge you. They judge you, right?
So what about mine?
Strong, confident.
Yeah, but you prepped for that. You'd set yourself up for a strong
No,
handshake.
I
'cause you
always
knew we'd assess it.
handshake people strongly. I think it's a good way to greet someone. I think.
It's just that first impression where it's like, cool.
Yeah, you look them in the eye, handshake them, say hi, Josh.
It's like when you cheers like a drink, like a whiskey, right? Dead in the eye. Cheers. Like it's.
I
little things like
I
that.
have huge struggles with that. This is why I am an introvert. Like I prefer to stay.
Self-confidence.
I prefer to stay behind the scenes and work from there.
It's
Whenever I've got to go to a networking event, I'm like, I've really got to find the energy to do that. And then talking to people and then small talk, I'm the worst at small talk. If you ask me how my day is going, good.
Cool.
Really, I really am. And it's a weakness. You know, when we get deep and we talk about something deep, I'll sit here all day.
Yeah.
You know, I could sit here with a whiskey and a cigar and talk about AI all day. But if we want to talk about what the weather's like, it's sunny.
I don't want to talk about that, though.
Can't you see? It's sunny.
Yeah.
The smartest people in the room are the quietest. You notice that?
It's the same with fighting, though. I mean, there are some behavioural patterns you can learn from being in combat to real life.
It's like rugby. Like let's use rugby. We all like rugby, right? I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
In
I'm
Wales.
not the biggest fan of it, but you
No,
know,
I love rugby. I love watching it.
Every single player off the pitch is the nicest, calmest, to the point, just chilled, fantastic human being. Because all their aggression is just on the pitch. They get their shit done. They know what they need to do. They do the job. They come off the pitch, and then that's that.
that's why you see, like, out in public scenarios, you know, in terms of like bar fights. That's why you see a lot of people make a lot of noise, and that's why the silent killers is the people.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, you don't
The
worry.
real fighters
you
just
never
clock
worry.
you.
You never worry about the people who make the most noise because they're peacocking.
It's like what we spoke about with like wearing brands. People who don't have a lot of money, they're plastering it everywhere to show that they do.
It's
People
so-
that do have money, they're quiet about it.
That's what the
Yeah.
Balenciaga's all about, isn't it? The ones that don't have much money.
When you
show
are
you.
actually that thing, you never have to prove a point and show it off.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah. That's so so true as well, and I'm starting to see that now in life, in more ways than one though. Because I've always looked at it in the viewpoint of like fighting and making noise and being confident, but now I'm seeing it in the more subtle ways, shaking hands, eye contact. Like I've tried my best to keep eye contact and speak to you.
I'm terrible. I retreat and I'm terrible at it. It's almost quite rude. Like I can sit there and I can ignore somebody and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing?
Because I'm in the middle though, it's a bit harder because I'm trying to.
They're going to sit on my neck's like,
Yeah, I'm like
It was worse when we were like this because when you were speaking directly to Martha, you can kind of look in between us.
yeah.
Whereas before you'd have to like turn your head and look at Martha and then look at me. You can't look at both of us at the same time. Well, this is probably a little bit better
Yeah.
because that was there and we were just facing each other. But
we've spoken.
you're making me assess my body language now. I'm trying to sit up and
Yeah.
I'm not. Self confidence.
Yeah.
You're thinking that I'm thinking. I'm not. I'm not thinking.
I think about everything.
No,
now.
I try to carry myself and just be myself. I
Just
think.
be you. Yeah. Just be you.
But we've nearly been speaking for like 2 hours now, and obviously
Do you want to wrap up then? So,
Yeah.
moral of the story: I have a weak handshake.
I have a strong one.
Matthew was yeah, got to chuck that in there as well. So Matthew is stronger than Alex. That is the moral of this episode.
But on a more serious note, I do want to say thank you for your time, Josh. This has been invaluable to me as well. I know it has been for Alex.
Oh, 100%.
And if you're listening to this and you hopefully you've taken something from it, whether it be on how to shake someone's hand, toast a whiskey, or how
And,
to level up in business.
how to buy property on Mars as well, because we did touch on that
Yeah, I
actually
forgot
as
about
well
that,
at some
actually.
point.
But Josh, thank you for your time, my friend. I'm not going to shake your hand now.
I don't know if I want to. I'm nervous.
But if you want to get involved in the Limitless University, then I'll put all the links down below. All of Josh's social channels will be down below, and we'll let you know how we get on ourselves. Hopefully, we might do a Marbella trip if we can. Well, I say if we can, we can. But
Yeah. If we can, that's a limiting belief.
it's
Oh,
not.
we can.
I'm rephrasing and
We are
reprogramming
going to
myself.
Marbella. Fuck it.
But thank you, Josh.
Anytime.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
It has
on.
been a real pleasure, mate. I do appreciate you coming down.
Any closing messages?
No, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
It's just great talking about topics that you don't get the opportunity to talk about. I think when you're like, for me, for example, I'm so like locked in my office, just like working with people on a daily basis. It's the conversation that's nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we're very fortunate.
topics
as well.
that you want to talk about,
Yeah.
not what everybody else puts on.
Yeah,
So,
that's why we're in such a fortunate position, because we do this for a job.
Yeah.
We essentially have cool conversations for a living.
and the setup's fantastic. It's the most professional podcast.
I can't take credit, mate. I mean, this is my father's, but
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is
Thank
great.
you for those comments. They do mean a lot.
What, that you have a strong handshake?
No, about the setup. It means it means a lot to me, because I don't think there would be anything more uncomfortable to go on a podcast and like feel awkward and not.
Yeah,
gel
I mean, I'm
with
glad
someone.
it's out here, because this is like we can create this environment ourselves. It's not in the house where there's a dog that comes in and
It goes back to what I was saying. Just be the best in the world at what you do. Like, just be the best. Like, wake up every single day, I'm the best. Like, just have that belief in you with everything.
Yeah.
that you
I think
do.
we have the best podcast on
No,
the planet Earth.
Don't think.
Honestly, I look at our podcast and I'm like, I know people are going to look at this and think you are chatting shit, but
Why-
I
why do you
honestly,
care what they say?
I honestly think, right, put this in a room with someone like, you know, the Stephen Bartlett's, Alex Hormozy, and I think our podcast is better.
This
I gotta
will
be
be
honest.
the best.
I think I mean, I assess myself all the time, and I think my questions are I like to see myself more like Stephen Bartlett than anybody else. I like that style of questioning where you just kind of go for it, like get really deep into their head, like what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like one with Theo. I mean, that we did our second podcast. That was interesting because I know him now, so I just go in. You know,
you
what's
don't need to
cool.
warm up, do you, for those sort of
Yeah.
episodes?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that we are the best.
There you go.
And I'll look down. I will say that until the cows come home. But I will also say thank you for listening, Josh. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone has found this useful. And
Cool.
we shall see you on the next episode.
It's like a TV show.
That's the only cringy part about it. So
Well, I enjoy that.
you will love it. There's some getting